In a way, it's like the new atheists became so focused on science, they try to use science to explain everything. A great example of that was Sam Harris in his book, The Moral Landscape, how he tried to
Yeah.
use science and reason to prove ethics or like an objective morality. However, the problem with that is that science is descriptive. It
Yeah.
tells us how the world is, not how it ought
How it ought to be. Right.
to
Right.
be.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
and also that with reasoning, like people have used their reasoning in the past to do evil things. A great example of that is Nazi scientists during World War II. They were extremely smart when it came to science. However, they used their talents for evil.
Right.
And people can also use their reason for an ethic based on power. Like a great example would be like Machiavelli or Nietzsche, who bases their ethic on power.
Mm. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, I mean, I think this notion of scientism as well has been really the lifeline of new atheism. I mean, you hear people all the time, like I said, atheists saying, "I'm a science guy. I don't believe
Mhm.
any of that other stuff. I'm a science guy." Well, so am I. So
Mhm.
are we all. We all are. Um, but further, I think a more pernicious issue with scientism really is it does strip you of subjective, um, like this subjective investigation. Like I did a video on Kierkegaard recently,
Mm.
and you can think of like coming to uh, belief in God as maybe you could throw away all the arguments in natural theology, right? Like I could show you that the ontological argument's good or contingency, right? But
Mhm.
just orienting your will towards the mystery of being,
Mhm.
becoming immersed in that. And science, if you're going to predicate if you're going to try to get, obtain or extract true meaning from science, I think at the end of the day, it's dangerous and it's not really, I don't see that happening, right? I don't Science, like you said, Seth, is descriptive. It's just describing things. So there's this whole subjective realm of value that's left out if you hinge your entire paradigm on science, specifically scientism.
It kind of reminds me actually of the I don't know if you guys have seen the film Law Abiding Citizen.
Sounds
But they,
familiar.
but it's a brilliant film. But there's a quote which it just I was reminded of when you brought this up, which is, in court it's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove. And I was just thinking in context to that, science deals with things only in which science can prove in the subject strictly of science, which is that which is consistently material. But the thing is, and this is the thing with psychology as well, psychology can be very well criticized in the sense of a lot of things that were demonstrated to be true, which were in psychology, as we know, is more subjective than the hard sciences.
Mm,
They are now not true because cultures have changed. And so science, and this goes back to the central point of this, which is science expects to have these descriptions of all things, when really science should only deal with science. I mean, because again, it's expecting to get an answer or a material answer from an immaterial based thing. It's
absolutely.
it's it's
That's
it's
really
the
well
wrong way
put.
to go, you know?
Yeah, Lennox has this example in his book. I actually have it here. Can science explain everything?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm just paraphrasing from him, but he has like, say Mary baked a pie or something. Well, science can explain everything that went into that, maybe the ingredients she used, the temperature, all that kind of stuff, but it can never explain why Mary baked the pie, right? So when we think about questions with God's existence, um, they're not scientific, right? They're philosophical. They're metaphysical. And I've sent you that quote from David Bentley Hart a lot, James. It's in my article. You know what I'm talking about? How Dawkins says, I think a natural selection is the answer to existence or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
but
familiar with
David
that.
basically
Mhm.
says you could explain everything down to the final point in science. You could explain the whole natural world, cosmology. You could explain everything in the universe, the physical arrangements of the universe, but you will never arrive at the question, why does it exist at all? Right? Science cannot answer that question. It's a totally different question. Um,
It's a philosophical question. That's
philosophical
that's the thing. Yeah.
And it's predicated on reason too, right?
Mhm.
So it's not all scientific answers. It's reason. We use reason, and like you were alluding to, Seth, we presuppose all kinds of things. Are our cognitive faculties functioning properly? Are they actually aimed at truth? Is there really an external world outside of my mind? Is there uniformity in nature? So all of these things are kind of presupposed. So
a lot of the time, I mean, even in a reply to a comment in the lack